They say some places never forget, and some walls never stop screaming. Blackwood Asylum, hidden deep in the forests of Pennsylvania, is one of those places. For decades, it has stood abandoned, its windows shattered, its roof collapsing, yet no one dares to tear it down. Because those who tried met terrible fates. One construction worker fell from the third floor after claiming he heard someone call his name. Another was crushed under debris after swearing he saw a shadow moving in the halls. The townsfolk say the building protects itself, refusing to let anyone silence its secrets. Blackwood was built in 1921, during a time when mental health care was poorly understood. At first, it promised a modern approach to treatment. But behind its walls, something far darker began to unfold. Patients were not treated as human beings, but as experiments. One of the lead doctors, Arthur H. Gray, was fascinated by how much suffering the human mind could endure. He believed that through extreme pain, he could reset the brain. So he used ice baths that lasted for hours, shock therapy so violent that bones fractured, and experimental drugs that left patients paralyzed for days. But even Gray wasn't the worst. In the basement, there were rumors of another wing, unlisted in official records. Here, the most violent patients were locked away. Some say they were left in complete darkness for weeks, fed only enough to keep them alive. Many never came back. By the 1950s, Blackwood was no longer a hospital. It was a house of torment. One of the most infamous cases was that of Eleanor. She was a young woman, admitted for severe depression. But within months, her condition worsened. Her cries echoed through the halls every night, so loudly that nearby townsfolk claimed to hear her from miles away. Until one winter morning, she was gone. Her bed empty, her door still locked from the outside. On the wall, scratched with broken nails, a single word remained: cold. She was never seen again. Another story tells of Thomas, a 12-year-old boy. Admitted after his parents claimed he had violent fits, he was kept in the infirmary on stormy nights. But one such night, Thomas vanished. His shoes were found in the hallway, still wet from the rain, but no sign of him was ever discovered. Some say his laughter can still be heard in the children's wing, long after midnight. Then there was Margaret, an older woman, who constantly whispered to someone unseen. When nurses asked who she was speaking to, her answer was always the same: the man in the corner. Weeks later, she was found dead in her bed, her face frozen in an expression of pure terror. By 1974, Blackwood was shut down. Officially, the reason was lack of funding. But unofficially, it was because too many entered and never returned. The building quickly became a legend. Locals told their children never to play near it. But of course, children dared each other, and teenagers sneaked inside at night. Those who went and spoke of whispers following them through the halls, shadows moving where no one stood, and the smell of decay so strong, it clung to their clothes for days. Some swore they saw faces in the windows, even though the building had been empty for years. In 1992, a group of 4 teenagers decided to break in. Armed with flashlights and a tape recorder, they entered through a broken window. Inside, the air was damp and freezing. Every step they took echoed like a scream. As they explored, the tape picked up strange static and faint whispers in the background, though none of them were speaking. One of the boys later dropped his notebook while running out. When it was found, a single word was scribbled again and again, in shaky handwriting: hunger. The teenagers refused to ever talk about what they saw inside. To this day, no one knows why they left so suddenly, or what chased them out. In 2003, a professional paranormal investigation team entered Blackwood to film a documentary. They explored for hours, recording the decayed halls, doors rusted shut, paint peeling like skin from the walls. Their equipment captured sudden drops in temperature and strange orbs of light flickering across the screen. But what terrified them most was the audio their recorders picked up. Heavy breathing, right behind them. Even when the team stood perfectly still. In the final minutes of the tape, a voice whispered near the microphone, "You shouldn't be here." Moments later, dragging footsteps echoed, slow and heavy, like chains being pulled across the floor. And then, silence. The cameras were later found abandoned in the lobby, still recording static. But the team themselves were never seen again. Authorities claimed they got lost in the woods, but the families never believed it. Today, Blackwood still stands, rotting away in the forest. Its roof is caving in, walls covered in graffiti, but the air around it feels thick, as if the building itself is alive. Children dare each other to touch the front gate, but none enter after dark. Locals swear that if you walk too close, you'll hear your own name whispered from the broken windows. And on stormy nights, drivers claim to see faint lights flickering in the halls, even though Blackwood has been without power for 50 years. So if you ever find yourself driving through the forests of Pennsylvania, and you see a lone building standing against the sky, do not stop. Do not enter. Because the walls of Blackwood still remember, and some doors, once opened, never close again. This was only the first secret hidden inside the Fright Files. The question is, will you dare to open the next one?